Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to this week's Productive Agent Podcast. My name is Tony Ruiz. I'm the founder and host of the Productive Agent Podcast and Facebook group. Our mission here at the Productive Agent is to motivate, inspire, encourage, and educate those working in the real estate industry. Joining me today is my good friend, mentor, coach, Mr. Shane Tokheim. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks.
So Shane, this is your third time on. We were just talking about that. I do want to give a quick shout out. So you probably noticed if you're watching on YouTube here, you need to go check it out if you're just listening. But we got hooked up here with an awesome neon sign in the back. It says the Productive Agent. So we're upping our game in our visual aspect here. I really want to thank you so much for contributing to that. So
that's
thank
awesome.
you. Yeah. Well, cool, man. How's everything been going? Last time you were on here, that was probably 6 or 7 episodes ago. What's going on in your world?
So we started up our accountability groups. And I had kind of got away from calling it accountability because that's something that, for whatever reason, people are afraid of. And it was more of like a motivational or what do you want to say? Just a mindset group. And so now we're actually having some accountability, and we started it. This will be the 4th week. And, I really enjoy doing that. You've been there. So yeah, that's been good. It takes up some of my time, but I really enjoy it.
Yeah. So, I've talked to you about this individually of like, I hate the word accountability. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's other agents that kind of feel the same thing, or they have accountability in different ways. One of the things that really bothers me is, like, what's your number? What's your number? How many calls are you going to make? How many did you make? All that. Why do you think most agents struggle with that, is accountability?
I struggle with it. I think everybody in life struggles with it. I mean, I shouldn't say everybody, that's a generalization, but I think everybody does. I don't know why. I think because the fear of failure is measured than more, dramatically, and there's more of an opportunity to fail. When you say like, I'm going to make 10 calls, and you have to come in and say, oh, I didn't, that's why, but that's also what makes you successful when you do it. So I think it's just the fear of failure.
Yeah. Fear of failure is huge, right? And that holds a lot of people back, and the paralysis by analysis, overthinking everything in life. We just had lunch before this, and we were talking about, the things that we're going through on a personal level, on a business level, on a spiritual level, all kinds of things. Right. And, that's what I enjoy most about our conversations. Yeah. Obviously every time I leave a conversation with you, I feel much better about everything. But just be able to relate to somebody, be able to talk to somebody. It's super powerful. Yeah. And
we overthink everything, like hanging this sign. I mean, we're literally like, oh, are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. I mean, and like I said to you, like if it didn't matter to you, I wouldn't overthink it. And probably the same for you. I'm overthinking it because I want it to be good for you. If it was just me, I'd throw it up. That's like a microcosm of life. I mean, I think it's the same thing. When you're the only person involved, you probably won't have as much fear as you would if somebody's counting on you. That's why accountability, I guess, works.
Yeah, I think part of it is like being a perfectionist. And then like, I've hung stuff in the past where I've screwed up, and then I have like holes in the wall that I haven't patched up. And that's super annoying because like, God, I got to go. That's another fucking project that I got to do. Right.
Exactly.
And it's like, oh shit. So it's like measure it twice, measure it a third time. Is it level? Is it all that?
Yeah.
So it's a learning thing, but sometimes we overthink it, and then when it's up, it's like, well, shit, that didn't take that long. We spent way more time thinking about it than actually doing it. But guys, so today's episode is entitled "Biggest Struggles Most Agents Have," and in talking with Shane, we're going to be a little bit more organic about this. We jotted down a few different things on our list, but that's what we're going to talk about today. So what is the one thing, what is your top thing that you want to start talking about? No order. Go for it.
I think kind of what we talked about. I think I said this in our first episode together. People will say that their struggle is this or that, time or organization. But really what it comes down to, and you and I talked about this at lunch, I think it's the fear of failure, or it's fear of rejection. It's fear. I think that's what most people struggle with, the fear of rejection. Like, why didn't you make 10 calls? Well, I was, what the answer is, I was scared. I mean, that's really what it is. I think the number one thing is fear.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the first things that I think about is, and it kind of goes right in line with that, is mindset, right? It's so easy to listen to the news and the media and the recession is here, the recession is coming, all types of things like that. You hear it in the news, you see it in the TikTok, the Facebook, the Instagram, all these negative. And it can really get you down, and then, how can I be successful in a recession as a realtor? How can I do this? How can I do that? But mindset, again, I've talked about this time and time again. I feel like I almost talk about it on every episode, is just super important because, if your mind isn't right, then everything that your energy that you're giving off is just not what you want.
Yeah. And I always give the analogy of driving down the road in a car. And if one of your tires is flat, it's going to obviously hinder you and you can't go smoothly or swiftly. And so if your life is, if you're out of balance in your life, whether it be your personal life, your financial life, your career, whatever it is, if one of those things isn't operating smoothly, it's going to slow your life down in general. And I think, so how do you get your mindset? And what does that have to do with mindset? And how do you get to always be in the right mindset? You asked me this today, as a matter of fact. And you asked me, what do you do when you're at the low of low? And my answer was not very good. I mean, I don't ever get there. I don't let myself even start to get there. Of course, I have lows, but I don't spiral down into this rock bottom place. And I think that probably has to do with mindset. And I think it has to do with confidence in my ability to overcome anything. I've had, things in my life that should have set me back and probably would have set a lot of people back farther than it did me. But because of my confidence, knowing I could be at rock bottom and come up from it, I think that's what sets me apart in my ability to come back. So now I know, I can come right back. So it only takes me a few minutes where it takes other people days or weeks to come back and get back in the right mindset.
Yeah, I mean, one of the first things that really helped me kind of figure out my mindset was when you introduced me to Miracle Morning. And because we talk about this so much, and again, we bring it up quite a bit because it's very impactful. And it talks about that morning routine. And I was just thinking about you're like, oh, I'm never in a low. I think about you punching the air.
Yeah. I do that.
And you get all fired up, and I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
But the other day, I kind of felt that. I came home from a good workout. I was feeling good. I'm trimming up. And I did that whole pose of me flexing in the mirror. And it was hilarious because I felt on fire, right? And then I posted it, and it was on fire. There were so many people that were looking at that, and it was really cool and impactful. But it's just how do you create that energy? And Tony Robbins says, motion equals emotion.
Yeah.
So we're sitting there, and when I met with you for lunch today, my energy was low. My energy was frustrated, upset, whatever it was. But having lunch with you, stopping by the office, hanging this, having a laugh, doing different things of movement. Really, that's really what it was. I got out of the house for a little bit, drove the car, had a decent meal, all these things. It creates better emotion.
For sure.
And so those things are super important. If you're not doing those things, or if you find yourself in a low, those are things, listening to music, listening to YouTube, motivational stuff, and I know motivation doesn't always last, but it's kind of the thing that kicks us off and gets us started. And then we follow our disciplines.
Yeah. And like you mentioned Tony Robbins, I mention him all the time. He calls it peak state. And I tell everybody, you need to know what gets you into your peak state, whether it be the theme from Rocky or punching the air or whatever it is, and also in Tony's book, Unleash the Power Within, he says it's a scientifically proven fact that if you stand like Superman, your endorphins will take over and you'll just naturally get in, and you can measure is it endorphins or something like that the physicality of yourself will grow into this state. And so that's what you should do. So you got to know what gets you there. And punching the air for whatever reason gets me there. Like I can envision knocking somebody out or, something like that. That song, Mama Said, Knock You Out. If I play that, I'll start doing that and I'll get fired up too.
Yeah.
We always get off topic, but the struggles most agents and people have, I think, is mindset. And overcoming the fear in the right mindset, you can overcome the fear.
Sure. Well, cool. I got, a few more here that we'd like to talk about. But one of them is just a daily routine and structure, right? There's so many people that, maybe they do have a morning routine where they're working out or doing something like that or reading. And if you're not, you should definitely develop something that works for you. But what do they do after that? I was just talking to a brand new guy who's getting his license. And I was like, this is one of the things that you have to set a daily structure.
Yeah.
And he's a teacher, so we can relate to that, right? We can go, hey, first period, we had English. Second period, we had math. Third period, we had social studies, whatever it was. But there was a daily structure. And if you don't have that in some kind of way in your business, you're going to flounder.
Yeah. And I think the struggle that goes along with that with agents is most everybody, one of the reasons they got into real estate is because I like the flexibility, right? And so all of a sudden you're your own boss now. You are so easy on yourself. They're like, oh, I can do that later. I can do that later. Yeah, well, you can't do everything later. Something's got to be done. Everything's got to be done. But if you keep putting it off because I can do it later, then you're never going to get it done. And pretty soon your business is struggling and you don't have deals. And then all of a sudden now you have a sense of urgency and now you're making calls and texting and reaching out. And now all of a sudden, now my business is better. Wow. Let me put those two things together. And, if you would have done that just consistently, you wouldn't have to have that stress.
Well, one of the things about that is, yes, that is the beautiful thing about this business is you do have the flexibility of moving that. But what usually ends up happening if you move something that you're supposed to do to later, it usually just gets canceled.
Oh, yeah.
You're like, oh, yeah, instead of doing that at 10, I'll do it at 3 later today because I have a spot there. Guess what? At 3 o'clock, you're not going to want to do that. So you just didn't do it.
Yeah.
So it is beautiful to move things around, but you have to commit to I got to do it.
And then also you'll say like, oh, you know what? Tomorrow at 10, I'm going to do double. Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it ain't going to happen.
It ain't going to happen, right?
That's true, man. Well, what else you got on your list?
I think, like I said it for myself, confidence, but I think believing in yourself, if you believe that you're serving your clientele and you really believe that you're better than other real estate agents and you're serving a purpose for them, then you're more likely to reach out to people. I mean, you talk about you have what do you call it? You're terrified of calling people. Yeah. And what? I mean, like, why? I said this the last time we were on. I bet you anything, there's not one time where you make a phone call where somebody says, oh my God, Tony, I love you. Yeah. I mean, that happens all the time. And yet you have the fear. And so I know everyone has the fear. I guess have the fear. I don't know. I don't think I do anymore, but I've overcome it, I guess. I surely had to be scared to make calls
I'm sure
at one time.
Yeah.
But now I'm not. I mean, although I did fail, like I told you I was going to call 120 people or something. Yeah. I called like 10 out of 100. That's terrible. But it wasn't because I was afraid. Not sure why I didn't do it, but I think believing in yourself that you're serving a purpose for your clientele, it's got to be part of it. I think most people just feel like I'm bothering people. And you're not. If you're truly trying to serve them, then you're not bothering them, right?
Yeah. That's a good point. Well, right on. Business plan. So going into a routine, what is your plan for your business? Mm-hmm. And something that I came across probably about a year and a half ago. Obviously when we sat down, we had built my greatness tracker. Right. And it was based off of, well, you already do a decent amount of social media stuff. What can you do with that to grow that? So part of mine is communicating with my social media, and that's what I try to do on a daily basis. And then obviously I have my hot, warm list. I'm following up with leads. I have my database that I should be contacting and working through, and I have my real estate reviews. So all of this is if especially if you're new and you have no idea what to do, you need to connect with myself, Shane, somebody that's been in the business a little bit, and go, what are you doing on a daily basis? What works, what doesn't?
Yeah.
So you want to talk about that?
Even if you're not new, I mean, honestly, Tony, we know a lot of agents together, and what percentage of the people, of the agents, but in life, I mean, we always talk about our industry, but in life, how many people do you think are structured daily to the extent that they should be? How many agents do you think when they wake up in the morning, they know exactly what they're going to do, basically every minute of the day?
I would say 5%.
Yeah, maybe 5%, and you probably, without knowing it, you could probably name them, because the ones that are successful are the ones that are doing it more than likely.
Right.
And so I think we underestimate the value of that plan. You're talking about a business plan, but you and I kind of agree on, yes, we have to have a yearly goal of a production. You should know right now where you're at for the year. And you probably do. I'm sure you do. I hope you do. And you should know exactly how much business you did last year and what your goal is to do this year. Right? Those are very important things to know, because you want to know where you're going. But if you don't know what you're doing every single day and every hour and every minute of the day, you're probably going to fail. I always use the analogy of, January, not everybody, but a lot of people set the goal to lose weight or work out more. And so then they go to the gym, and that's why the regulars at the gym don't go in January, because the novices are there, and they're literally walking around the gym like they've never been there before. And they're like, oh, what am I going to do? And they're only planning to be there for an hour, but probably 30 minutes of the time they're stumbling around like, oh, that looks like a good idea. Maybe I'll go and do that when that guy, they don't have a plan. And our business is the same way. If you don't have it planned out, I'm going to do 10 push-ups, 10 sit-ups, 10 reps on the bench, 10 squats, or whatever at the gym. But your business should be the same way. I'm going to make 10 calls. I'm going to send 10 texts. Whatever it is, I'm going to do a social media post. Whatever it is should be written down and then checked off as you do it. And nobody does it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very rare, or they don't do it consistently.
Yeah.
And there's times where I'm on fire. Like last week I did really well, and everything was going pretty good. But one of the things that really helped propel me forward, again, was having a plan and going back to time blocking. And we've talked about this before, but before I get in the shower, I'm doing a little bit of quiet time. I've been reading the Bible, and then I go into my phone and look at my calendar for the day. And I go, okay, I'm supposed to have a lunch at this time. I have this meeting at this time. And I see all this white space. All right. And I go, okay, well, white space is the devil, according to Grant Cardone.
Yeah.
All right. So I start plugging it in. I'm going, okay, when am I going to do my social media posts? I'm going to do it right here at this time. When am I going to do my database? Okay, I'm going to do it right here at this time. When am I going to do my real estate reviews? When am I going to do my reading? And I just start plugging it in and pretty much filling up my calendar, at least for the day, and then at least for the week. So sometimes I'll look back on a month and go, okay, what's coming up? Okay, I need to make sure that that's scheduled in a couple of weeks, all that. But then I just try to focus on each day, and somebody asked me, a couple people asked me, like, how was your weekend? It's like, I don't even remember like what my weekend was. I mean, it was a good weekend, and I have to kind of think about it, but I kind of just stay focused on how's my day going? What do I need to get done? What's coming up next, rather than what has happened, what's going to happen in the future. Just like be in the present. Right, be in the present, take care of what your daily structure is, have a great day, and then move on to the next.
Why do you think you're inconsistent? What do you think the biggest factor is in inconsistency?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think distraction is the first thing that comes to mind. All kinds of distraction, whether that be, I got to go take care of this inspection report or whatever that just kind of popped up. But again, I should have it going, I only take care of like work problems during this time. And like I know Josue Gallardo, I try to call him in the morning, can't get through, can't get through at all,
because he's doing what he's supposed to.
He's doing his calls, and his follow-up and his whatever. I mean, he is strict about it. And that's why he's a 2-time Icon agent and, sells $10+ million a year.
And so, do you think his clients think that that's okay? Yeah.
Yeah, I would assume so.
But I think most agents that aren't there yet are thinking like, oh my God, if one of my clients, I got to jump. No, you set the expectation. They'll understand. You're a professional.
Yeah.
But I think most agents are looking for distractions. I mean, like literally like looking like, what else can I do besides making my call? I mean, no, make your calls, just make 10, you'll get on a roll. Make 1 and get on a roll.
Sure.
It's your mindset has got to be, this is what's going to make me successful and I'm not going to veer from it. Like your 75 hard, the same thing. Just get in that mindset and do what you got to do. And why, and I'm not picking on you, but everybody, why are you filling in blank space on the day of that should be on your calendar every day, all the time,
Right.
And so
again, going back to the flexibility, the freedom of flexibility, and we'll move it to here and we'll move it to here. And
freedom and flexibility. I can't tell you in my career how many times, or at least in the last 8 years since I've been, mentoring, somebody has said to me like, I'm thinking about getting a real job. And I'm like, a real job? Yeah. You have a real job. You're just not doing it.
Sure.
And I probably even said to you, I know I've said to some of our close friends, like, look, what if you came to my office every day and you had to report to me every 30 minutes on what you did the last 30 minutes, and then also tell me what you're going to do the next 30 minutes, and then come back to me and tell me if you did it or not. Would you be more productive or less productive?
It'd be scary.
Yeah, you'd be scared because you'd have to do what you're supposed to do, and you're supposed to do. Yeah. But the problem is nobody has me telling him that or somebody. So how do you get that? Well, get an accountability partner. But the problem is most people pick an accountability partner that's going to let them off the hook, and you let them off the hook, and then it doesn't get done. Even me, I let people off the hook. I mean, you and I have done that, and I let you off the hook.
Right.
So you've got to find probably a partner or something that's going to hold you accountable. I remember when you used to set timers, that worked. You've gone through things that work.
Yeah.
And then you get away from it for whatever reason.
Well, like you said, and it's helpful. I mean, it's helpful to have somebody like, holding you to the fire, holding your feet to the fire. Like, do this. Like, why aren't you doing that? But it's also stepping back and go, hey man, stop beating yourself up so bad.
Yeah.
Because I do that quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you're like, dude, you're doing a lot more than a majority of agents, So I kind of sometimes beat myself up like, damn it, I might have had a good like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And then like Friday was not good. And I didn't finish off the week great. And it's like, sometimes we focus on the negative, right? And we just kind of get down. And that's another thing on my list is dealing with disappointment.
Oh yeah.
Because that's what today's Monday Motivation is. We're also recording this on Monday. But if you go listen to it, this week's Monday Motivation is getting punched in the gut, losing out on a deal and being able to bounce back.
Yeah.
It's hard. It stings. It's a struggle, and I think the more you're into it and the longer you've been in the business, you get thicker skin for sure. You learn how to deal with it. You learn how to bounce back.
Yeah.
But I think that can definitely be a distraction, right? Of like,
I always, a lot of people have asked me about that. You just asked me, but, I don't like today you were with me and I got a text from somebody that said like, I'm not going to go with you. I'm going with somebody else. Oh, well, right. And the difference I think between me and a lot of other people is that's a small piece of my business. And if you have a huge pipeline like you should,
right,
then one deal will not get you down because it's a fact of life. A certain percentage of deals are going to fall through.
Yep.
And you wouldn't think twice about it if you have 10 going and one falls through. But when you have one going and one falls through, it's a huge deal. That's 100% of your business, right?
Right.
So you got to figure out by doing your daily activities that grows your pipeline, and then you won't care. You won't go through the downs emotionally or financially.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, again, going back to just focus on meeting more people and talking more people.
Yeah, exactly.
Putting more people in your pipeline.
Yeah. I think, what's the topic? Struggles? Yeah. Struggles.
You've asked me that like 5 times in the past 5 days. What's the topic? And then I sent him the topic and he's like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah. Well, what's the topic today?
The topic is struggles.
Biggest struggles most agents face.
I think a struggle that agents don't know how to deal with, like you, when you're around me, building your database, that's a struggle for people. Like literally when you watch me do it, you're like, dude, I sometimes think you're thinking like, you're so cheesy or you're so like, I don't know what, but it just is what you got to do. Like the listing you're getting with the guy from golf. Right. I mean, that's just natural to me. Like I just start a conversation and you just don't know what's going to come from it. But I think most agents, again, it's confidence in really believing that you are providing the service that they need. They're going to buy or sell a house, right? Yeah. It might as well be with you because you're really good at it. You got to believe that you're the best agent in the town. You're going to serve them the best, better than anybody else will. And if you believe that, you won't have any problem striking up conversations with people because you'll believe that they need to be in your circle.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true.
So you think I'm cheesy?
No, I don't think you're cheesy. No,
when I said that, you're like, yeah.
No, it's I think I always try to find something else to build the business around rather than just like doing what you say. Yeah. But it really just all boils down to doing what you say. Yeah. Like no matter what, somebody else I follow is Ricky Caruth. Uh-huh. And, a lot of people are like, oh, he's a cold caller. He's a cold caller. He did build his business by cold calling. But what his whole thing is wrapped around is he teaches us how to communicate, right? And he goes, I don't care if you cold call. I don't care if you Facebook message. I don't care whatever. You still have to eventually pick up the phone and have a conversation with whoever you're getting a hold of, whether you're paying for leads, whether you're door knocking, whether you're open house, whether you're whatever way you got these people to listen to you, you still have to pick up the phone and have a conversation. Yeah. Or face to face, and that's his whole platform is like, this is how you communicate with people. How can I help you? Mm-hmm. How can I do that?
You've seen me give the analogy of the fine line between top of mind and bothering people. And so if this is the line, I'm on it. I'm always on it, right? But you and other agents are way down here. But you're scared to death of bothering people, and so that you got to get that out of your mind because again, if you're serving them, you're not bothering them. Yeah. And so communication, you've got to take it to another level. People, you got to believe people want to talk to you. They need to talk to you. I say those things all the time, and I truly believe it. I mean, I feel like you personally and other agents want to talk to me and need to talk to me.
I'm going to call you out here. Let's see how you respond live. So we talk about this. You have a text message thing that you send out every Monday and Friday, and obviously you do look at that of like who responds, who doesn't respond, and how many. You're like, I got a lot of responses. But you also have a pretty good list of non-responsive people. So how do you take that? I mean, you ask me sometimes like, what should I do with these people? Should I take them off? Should I not? So talk a little bit about that of like, how does that make you feel? How does what do you do about that? Do you Grant Cardone would say you should double down. You should do more.
I'm more on that line. I kind of wonder why. And I did a little research on it, and some of the ones that don't respond don't have any business, and they're probably like, I have no reason to talk to him.
Sure.
And I think sometimes people like you have told me, and I think Alan told me one time, like the reason sometimes they don't respond is because they know I'm going to hold them accountable, or I'm going to ask them like, hey, did you, I'm going to ask some business questions that they don't want to have that conversation, which is okay. But I've come to realize like I don't really need to take anybody off. Although I do think about it until they tell me to take them off. Because every once in a while, like if somebody hasn't responded in 6 months, all of a sudden they'll respond and be like, hey, I really like these, and so.
I just saw that last week. You said something like, I haven't heard from this person in months.
Yeah. And I think Friday or Monday of last week, I sent out one that said, I think it was Zig Ziglar quote that said, "For every sale I lose because I'm too enthusiastic, I miss out on 100 because I'm not enthusiastic enough." And I believe that. And I think a lot of people are missing out on 100 deals because they're not enthusiastic enough, and also because they don't believe that they should be enthusiastic. In other words, to communicate with enough people. But you have to. That's your job.
Yeah. Well, cool.
Yeah.
It just kind of popped in my head, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put him on the spot. See how he responds."
I like to be on the spot. Are we getting close to wrapping up?
Whatever.
I mean, I'm just kind of like, I want to give, value.
Sure.
And so I want people to not just hear me rambling on, but I mean, the takeaways, that you're getting from today's conversation. I mean, maybe write one down or something, but I want to recap and what it is you should be taking away. I mean, you've got to stop living in fear and or find a way to overcome that fear, because we all have it. And also how to get in the right mindset every day. And I think the right mindset comes with daily structure. And if you do that same thing that's getting you in the right mindset every morning, you'll have a good day. And, then, and also like in your 75 hard, and when you were doing the greatness tracker every day, once you do like 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 in a row, you don't want to break the streak. And you've got to start the streak somewhere. So start the streak and then keep track of it. You have that tracker, and when it's full and then you've got a week of full, you're so happy and your energy is so much better, and then your mindset is better. And it's just a revolving, one feeds the other. And then then in a month from then, your business is good. And what is that? Not a coincidence? I mean, of course it is.
Yeah, it's cool. It's starting the momentum, right? Doing something consistently. And I think that's how to get into peak state, because, again, life will beat you up, right? Life will throw you a curveball just when everything's going really well. And you're like, whoa, here we go. Got to deal with that, but how do you bounce back? How do you get yourself into peak state? Again, having a structure and a schedule of going, okay, this is my job. I got to do this at 10 o'clock, whatever it is. So that's one of my biggest takeaways that I wrote down here. What else you got?
That's why the two things I talk: fear and mindset. Overcome fear and get in the right mindset.
How do you overcome fear?
I think get good at your craft. Build confidence. I'm as you know, super confident. But I think also agents hear us talk about it, or and I think in the Miracle Morning, Hal Elrod says, even some of his friends say like, I don't need a book. I don't need mindset, but yeah, you do. I mean, you literally think like, oh, a self-help book. Yes. Self-help. Yeah. You need help. You need to help yourself. So don't listen to us and think like, oh, that's stupid. You might think that for the moment, but come and meet with me, or read the books that we're suggesting, and actually pay attention while you're reading. That's a funny thing to say, but I've done it. I've read pages where I wasn't paying attention to myself even, but you got to pay attention and then put it into action. You can read and read and read, but if you don't put it into action, nothing's ever going to happen. So take action, is the third thing. Or fourth, you have one, but, we can't help you if you don't reach out for help, or, don't help yourself. You've got to do something. Doing the same thing over and over and getting the same result. You're going to get the same result unless you change. If you need a change, then make the change.
Yeah. Well, that kind of reminds me of what we talked about last Wednesday in group is, nothing changes if nothing changes.
Right.
And it's like, okay, are things going well for you right now? Okay, keep doing those things. But if you want things to be better, you got to improve. Right. You got to do something different. And what are those things that look like? Most of the things are the things that we're talking about here, or have talked about on different podcasts, or follow like different social media accounts. That's what I do sometimes, is like I look at different agents and be like, ooh, I like what they're doing there, and just get an idea and run with it.
You know, that reminds me, I know we got to wrap up, but, on the way here, I was telling you about something I did very nice for someone else, and I can promise you she's super happy, but I'm happier. I'm happier because I did something nice for someone. So if you're also struggling, just start doing things for people. Like literally buy someone's coffee, say hi, hold the door open. Just do nice things all day long for people. When the opportunity arises, that was my thing this morning. Like do something nice for people and it'll be amazing how you feel and not to mention how they feel. Yeah. Like if you held the door open for somebody and they smiled and said, thank you, you should say that you're welcome, pass it on. Like when I send out my text, I want you to pass it on, to pass it forward. Just think if everybody was doing nice things for people all day long and just try it. Yeah. Try it. It makes you feel good.
Yeah, for sure. You got anything else?
No.
We're good? Yeah, that was quite a bit. There's a lot of stuff jam-packed into that episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. If you did, I encourage you to share the show. Right? I know Shane's going to share the show because he only shares shows that he's on. So I need to get him on more often. Yeah. But hope you guys enjoyed the show. Share the show. That would be great. If you got any value of it, if it made you laugh, if it made you think, share it with an agent, share it with a friend that's not even in real estate. All these things, I used to listen to a lot of sports podcasts while I was teaching band. And I would reference like the story or like, the message behind the story and how it could relate to my business of band directing, right? And the same thing, right? We talk obviously real estate, but it all applies to whatever thing you're doing in life. So share the show with anybody. We really appreciate it. Subscribe so you know when the newest episodes are coming out. This will be airing Wednesday. So be ready for that. Leave us a review, give us a rating, join our private Facebook group called The Productive Agent. You can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Go check out YouTube to check out our brand new sign. Thank you, Mr. Shane Helkheim. All right. So that's super cool, looking better and better. All links are in the show notes. I look forward to connecting with you. So thanks for joining us today. Now let's get out there and go produce.